I'll be pressured to have children with a powerful wizard on behalf of the coven, like Kate is expected to. Aisling banished those thoughts from her mind as her father called. "We've reached the threshold. Remember, the powerful magic within the deep wood can create unexpected hazards. Be vigilant and careful." His tone turned lighter. "Everyone except Brianna, that is. You should leave the thinking to us, dear heart." Her sister made a rude sound from the back of the line, and everyone laughed. Lewis was skilled at finding the right words for every moment, in this case to break the anxiety she was sure the others shared as they entered the deep wood. Crossing the boundary wasn't quite the same as stepping from day into night, but it had a feeling that called it to mind. From safety into danger, from surety into doubt. The surrounding sounds changed on the other side. The wind became more muted, and the insect noises louder. Azza had joined them on the ground, and his scaled head swivelled from side to side as he searched for danger. Aisling reached to her lower back and drew out the 2 cylinders strapped there. A press of their buttons caused the sword blades to cascade out of the hilts. She'd primed them each with magic as soon as they'd arrived on Oryseren, and they should be good for several extensions and retractions. On Earth, motors and batteries took care of that process. Sheaths on her wrists held knives she could cast at need, and attached to her belt were potions for healing and energy. She also carried a backpack containing sundry items, as did the others. The path to her wand was unknown, and would likely be full of unanticipated challenges to handle. After 5 minutes of walking, they entered a small clearing. "Aisling, now's as good a time as any," Lewis decided. "Kate, Bree, Azza, let's make a defensive circle." Her allies took positions around her as she lowered herself to her knees. She focused inward to summon her magic. The pool of power inside her responded to her effort, and energy flowed through her body to her right hand, where it exited through the 5 wooden rings that gave her precision control of her magic. She added an act of will to shape her intent for the power, and spoke the words to reinforce it. "Out there is another like you, and you are meant to be together. Show me the way." At the end of her invocation, she felt a pull toward the northwest and shared that information with her companions. Her father flashed a smile. "Good. I wasn't sure it would work in here. I'm glad it did." With their direction revealed, the party moved with intent through the jungle. Lewis used his wand to slash a path through the vines and other plants that occasionally choked the way. Her spell continued to provide guidance, and she called out directions now and again. No one talked beyond simple commands and warnings. Azza stayed at Kate's side, but how he held his tail, and the swivelling of his ears, suggested he too was cognizant of the potential danger that surrounded them. The canopy overhead grew thick enough to block out most of the light, and each of them cast a spell to allow them to see in the relative dimness. Aisling almost summoned a fireball instead, more for comfort than illumination, but resisted the urge. As they got deeper into the forest, all the sounds fell away, leaving them in near silence, except for the noise of their progress and the wick of her father's attacks on the overgrown plants. The uncanny environment was oppressive enough that their steps slowed, then stopped, as if by unspoken agreement. The attack came a moment later. Azza roared suddenly, and they scattered. No other sign signalled the assault before the thumps as enemies dropped out of the trees above them and landed on the ground sounded. The attackers had doubtless been intending to drop on top of them, but Azza's warning had prevented it. Aisling had thrown herself into a shoulder roll and surged back to her feet, spun, and then froze at the shocking sight before her. The creatures now among them resembled the kind of monkeys she'd seen in zoos, but each was bigger than Brianna, the most physically imposing member of her family. 6 had landed and were already in motion toward each of them. The extra one had angled an Azza's